Hello, hello. Welcome to this amazing episode of Finding Balance Through Creative Art Expression. I'm very excited to have two amazing women with me. And I have to say, for those who've been following me, third time's a charm with this episode as life happens, right? That's what happens. And we just learn to flow with it. And before we get into what we're going to be talking about today, I just want to bring up something that's very near and dear to my heart, and that is a Tomo tour that I'm going to be offering here. And that is starting in October 1st through the 10th. I am inviting you. I do have just 2 spots left. That's very exciting to me. For this Tomo tour. And for those who are not familiar with what Tomo means in Japanese, it means friend. And so I'm taking American friends and one French friend of mine. She's going to travel over to Japan to see us there. And we're going to integrate into the culture. We're going to meet my Japanese friends that I'm just so honored to share these precious people, with the people that are on the Tomo tour with me, all my guests, and immerse ourselves in the culture and go to Tokyo and see the shrines, go to the Big Buddha, experience Kamakura, that's where the Big Buddha is, and also visit the Imperial Palace and the beautiful Japanese gardens. They are breathtaking. And then we get to go on the train to Kyoto. We take the bullet train down, and all of the rooms are reserved and ready for you all. And then we get to climb Mount Kurama, and that's the birthplace of Reiki. So people, if you're not aware of what Reiki is, or even not interested in taking that hike, you don't have to. That's the beauty of the Tomo tour. You come and you explore and just be immersed in this culture. So for those of you who have been wanting more to explore, I invite you to come to the Tomo tour. There's so much that I have to offer. So the QR code is right there in the upper right-hand corner. Take a snapshot of that and you'll get more information there. So no more waiting. I'm going to start bringing up our amazing guests, Claudia and Jenny. Welcome, welcome, friends.
Hi.
We all chimed in at the same time. Oh, I'm so honored to have you both here, because you both, when it comes to creative expression, even though you dabble in different areas, you both create that beautiful sanctuary of support for people to feel safe, to feel that they can go a little deeper and maybe even feel a little uncomfortable as they do so. And so for people who aren't really aware of who you are, do you mind introducing yourself? Let's go with Claudia first. Claudia, can you introduce yourself? Tell us just a little bit about what you do and where you're at.
Sure. Well, first of all, thank you, April. I'm excited to be here with you and Jenny. I am Claudia Marolanda, and I'm a portrait artist. I became a workshop facilitator. I facilitate coloring workshops, painting events, and now I'm teaching how to draw as well, face drawing. And my purpose with art has always been how to support women emotionally, how to get them to reconnect to themselves through art. So that's what I do. And I'm located in New York City.
Great. Yes, and you do so much more than that, Claudia. You really do. All the beautiful artwork behind her is all of her and so much more. So thank you, Claudia, for being here. And Jenny, your turn next.
Hey, yeah. So I'm a musician and at heart, and by practice, as of a few years ago, I fulfilled my first solo music project. I had been collaborating on other people's things for quite some time before that and had not fulfilled my own dreams. So once I did that, I became ready to help other women fulfill their creative dreams and get living a fully whole creative life and using what I call our whole voice, like our whole self-expression and everything. So yeah, that's what I'm doing now. And I've got coaching programs and some exciting stuff coming up in 2026 as well too. So yeah, exciting times. And I have also this year I launched a play programming
Ah,
element to what I do to help us play every day. So
yes,
which
yes.
we all need this.
Yes.
We all need to play. And I think a lot of people forget that, don't they? They forget that this is where we find ourselves is when we're playing, when we're expressing ourselves with the creativity, whether it is the active play of singing, of artwork. And when we can be in those moments, then that's when we discover more about ourselves, don't we? Yeah. So I'm just curious, ladies, as you've been on this path of creativity, of just wanting to express yourself more, what have you noticed with the people that you support, with your clients, with the community? I mean, how is this impacting them?
Anyone
Yeah,
go? Go ahead. Go
I'll,
ahead.
Okay, thanks, Claudia. I'll throw in there because I did throughout April and some of May. I did some pretty extensive interviews with women, just to find out kind of what our creative landscapes are like. And I found what I came to believe and find is that, frankly, just to come off, not to come off too heavy here, but we're betraying ourselves by and large culturally. We're betraying our creative souls. The fact that it's our birthright and that we need to create. We are spending a lot of time comparing ourselves to other people. We're working on all this stuff too. By the way, I shouldn't go on without saying that we're these are the growth edges that we are on, trying to stop comparing ourselves to other people, trying to let go of perfectionism, trying to deal with all the transitions that we have in a day. That's kind of a big obstacle to creativity. Sometimes when we have a lot of transitions and a lot of things, different hats that we're wearing, there's also this cultural tendency for us to put the needs of others before our own. And we've ended up sometimes disconnected, therefore, from our own emotions. There's some shame that plays into it, that kind of stuff. There's this tug of war between creativity and quote unquote the rest of life, whereas the life is creative, and that's what we need to be moving towards. So there's my summary of
I
these
love that.
issues.
I love that. Yes, we need that creativity. That's our spark. That's what inspires us with anything that we do. Anything. Yes. And Claudia?
So what I seen, and so it's been in different cases because I had a program that it was more about envisioning. So it I noticed that a lot of women, it was about envisioning and also reconnecting to their emotions, understand, becoming aware of their emotions. I think that's a big part for a lot of women of, I'll say, a certain age, like me, older. We didn't grow up understanding, knowing what emotions were, and we were just very reactive to them. So I like to give a space to kind of like start understanding, paying attention, embracing emotions. And what I loved about women is that they didn't realize that was something they needed. So as women, we tend to be always taking care of everyone. We usually, most women, I'm not going to say all of them, but we leave ourselves for last. And then we just feel depleted, like we don't have, like we're missing something, or we might be feeling lost. And creativity, even through music, through visual arts, like I do, it's a place to just come back to yourself, to reconnect to yourself. And women just feel that peace, and then they want, more of that space to reconnect. That was my experience. That's what I've been giving to women. Recently I started doing the teaching drawing, which I feel like it was kind of like departing from my original intention, but I noticed it's the same thing. And that's actually how I started, because I started just learning to draw on my own. And women just need, and I think I will say overall everyone, just that space to be with themselves. And especially through visual arts, is that time that you get to be with you, and reflect and think of what you want and what you desire, and discover certain things about yourself, because that's happened with a couple of my participants. Things come up that it would have never come up under the noise of the everyday. So that's kind of like a place to just get grounded, get quiet, and get to know who you are. So it's been wonderful for them. It's been wonderful for me, and more fulfilling seeing them, enjoying this.
Yes, exactly, Claudia. And I love how we here in the audience that are supporting us here, we're talking about women and finding their voice and everything. Here's Mike Asherbranner showing up. He's so used to gelling with all types of rooms and people. And so we so appreciate you, Mike, and the Hounds of Business being here with us right now. And that's actually how we all connected, was through the Hounds of Business. I know Jenny, you were there with us, and Claudia, you're also a PAC member. And so it's just amazing. You never know who you're going to gel with, who you're going to resonate with. So again, thank you, Mike. And then of course we have Chasen, who is an amazing person as well with HR for You. Love him. I know, Claudia, you've been on his live doing some art there too, inspiring others as well, haven't you?
Yes, I had the pleasure of creating an art piece for his new collaboration with Rayo de Sol. He created his first transformation kitchen. Gotta make sure I remember everything correctly. And I'm just so proud of Jason. I'm so proud of the work they're doing, how they're helping younger generations grow. And this, because it's in Nicaragua, I just did a portrait of an indigenous woman with abundance of food in her plate. So I wanted them to have that abundance through the art, so everyone can share it together and just have a visual reminder of the amazing work that they're creating.
Mm. Yeah, and it's really important also, it's about the community.
Yes.
Right, with everything that we do, and it starts within ourselves. So as Claudia and you too, Jenny, had hit upon how women are giving and giving and giving, or those with that type of personality that give, and they don't stop to fill their own cups, and just that creative expression, helping those who maybe aren't, like for me, it's meditation and sitting still and being quiet and being out in nature and taking walks. Maybe it's more of an active movement. Maybe it is that movement with it's a meditation, right? With the art.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. With painting, with focusing on the colors, with being in that moment, and or dancing or expressing, as Jenny said. So for those who feel that they have to keep going and doing in order to prove their worth, what information, or not what information, what advice do you have for them to help to slow down, to bring in more creativity into their life? Jenny, I'm going to put you up here first.
Sure. Okay. One of the big things that I would say is really important, because you just mentioned community, April, is to gather what I call creative champions around you. I may have also stolen that phrase from Julia Cameron, who did The Artist's Way. I'm not sure. I know she uses the phrase creative monsters, which is something we don't want to have around us, right? So what we do need, though, is people who are unconditionally supportive of us, and usually themselves then too, right? It all kind of like vibrates along the layers, to be absolutely unconditionally supportive of our creative being, of the choices that we make for our creative lives and for the creative balance of our lives. I call it creative balance or creative harmony when we have when we've been able to, not necessarily every moment of every day, but ultimately have intended and set up our lives to have, moments of play, even micro moments of play throughout each day, moments where we are kind of moving ahead on creative projects, whether that's our businesses or our artistic dreams, or even caregiving actually can be creative as well. The thing is, when we to have that harmony and balance, it needs to be both energetically feeding us as well as giving. There needs to be that harmony between ourselves and the rest of the world. So creative champions, getting people around us who understand that, getting coaches like myself and Claudia and April to help us hold that space for ourselves and learn how to do it, in ways that really work for us personally, because of course we're all different and we all have a different mixture or proportion or concoction that works for us to feel that creative harmony and balance in our lives. So creative champions.
Creative champions. I absolutely love that as well. And also, you brought a good point of, just being with ourselves. And I noticed that with the breath work, this is about self-regulating your nervous system too, because we all are outside of our bodies. Most of us are. There's so much happening in the world and in our lives and in our communities that it really takes us out of our bodies. And having that creative expression through art or self-expression or breath work, whatever that is, really helps to bring us back and self-regulate the nervous system. So that way we can be more responsive in life instead of reactionary or on alert of all the things. Yeah. And what have you noticed with that, Claudia, with working with people with art, and maybe, they come in, I'm just going to give a scenario. They come in, they're like, yeah, my friend brought me. I'm not much of an artist. I'm just here. I guess I'll sit down and try this, right? What usually happens with those people? What have you noticed?
So in case, I was going to say when it comes to art can help in so many different ways. But in cases like that, I had specific cases like that, especially with the coloring workshops. And I had this person, she's very much into her self-growth and connecting to self. And she brought a couple of friends that, some of them are not into any of that. And so it was really interesting. But people, what I noticed, my experience, people are usually afraid to try to look within, to even consider thinking like emotions. Like if I said, this is about connecting to emotions, people just get like, the walls start coming up. And I get it. And of course, I'm very, I act differently with certain people. I hope them realize that I don't go deep into anything. This is a creative space for them to reconnect. And at the end of the day, they're like, like, it wasn't that terrible. In a painting event, I had a man that came, and it was open for everyone in a workspace. And he was like, you know what? I wasn't sure if I wanted to do it because it was about having a cathartic release and then creating from there. But he really released a lot. And then he created these beautiful flowers, and he was so excited and so glad that he did it. So a lot of times what we do is that we hold on to so much pain. We're suppressing emotions so much that we don't realize that we're doing that. And that was also my case. But when we have a space where we can like release it softly, people just feel like, like it's so much better. So people enjoy that. But I don't go deep with any of my work. It's just more about letting people be with themselves and let it just kind of like unfold at its own pace organically. And that's the beauty of it, because you get to be with yourself. You get to see what comes up for you, and you deal with it in a very gentle and creative way, and they enjoy that. But I think a lot of people just need to realize that they need to like let go and be okay to connecting to themselves. It's not that terrible. And through creativity, of course, is a perfect way to do it.
Yes, exactly. That is a really good point. And it's the fear. It's the fear of letting go, or maybe even, past judgment that somebody had said something to them, not really meaning to hurt them. But for example, my sister, wow, she's just natural artist, right? She could freehand things. She could just do all these things. And here I am with stick figures and all the things. But, I could do math really well. I could, plan, organize. So it's just everybody has their own talents and their own ways of self-expression. And just to be able to allow ourselves to sit and be curious, right? Having that open curiosity. Yeah. Jenny, how has curiosity helped you in your life, and then bringing it forward to your clients and people that you've supported?
Yeah, I love that you brought up the trait of curiosity. It's one of the keys to life and creativity. And I always say, in my case, curiosity saved the cat. Because I didn't sing in public till I was 33 years old because of fear, like Claudia, like you've brought up. It's a thing, it's a real thing. And fortunately, around that time, I was able to get some support from outside and get some creative champions in my life. And then I went for it, and, which led to me totally by now really fulfilling my creative dreams. Before that, though, I would say that curiosity was my saving grace, right? Like I wasn't necessarily able to, before that, to express in public. All along, though, my fascination with music, my fascination with creativity and other forms of art was still there. It didn't go away, right? It's always still in us. So I still was exploring. I was gathering and gathering and gathering, from all sorts of visual art and music art and just philosophy and psychology. All of that was gathering through my curiosity. And so then that all ended up, when it was time, when I was ready at the age of 50 to go ahead and do a solo project, it was all there, and I was able to express myself then fully from that. I will say also, related to curiosity, that the clients that come to me that tend to move ahead, that's a weird phrase, that tend to move into their creative wholeness, that's what I want to say, more smoothly and more gently for themselves and more quickly. It is that open-mindedness, that curiosity that helps with that so much to keep stoking the, what are my interests? What are my motivations? What do I love, really? What sparks my heart? What sparkles my mind and my heart and my whole soul? And to follow those paths fearlessly, even if we're feeling fear, like choosing to follow them fearlessly. That's key. That kind of curiosity.
Well said, my friend. Yes, I even put a little ticker down there. Curiosity is the key. Yes. How about you, Claudia? What things have you overcome or you were aware of when you first started this? I think you alluded to it in the very beginning of, getting out there or maybe it was another show. I heard you explain this, but can you just tell us what things that you've overcome, but then you were aware of it more so when you are supporting people in these amazing like cup of color events and things that you do?
Like what I have overcome?
Yes, things that you've noticed and then how you see that within your clients or the participants in your classes.
I'm not following. What I have overcome, what do you mean?
Yeah, what you've overcome from getting into the business, getting into putting yourself out there in your art. And
Oh,
it's just not a hobby now. This is you. This is something that you're
oh,
doing.
oh my God. I've overcome so much and I have so much more to overcome. First of all, I went through a very dark period about 10 years ago. That's when I left my career. I used to be a graphic designer. And I remember always telling myself that I loved my career because I was always behind the scenes. I work in publishing. I contracted photographers. I contracted everyone. And I was always behind the scenes. So no one would see me. Then I ended up in a business that it forced me to come out a little more. And that was a janitorial business with a family member. It didn't work out. And I was creating art already because it had been, for a couple of years, it had been healing me. And people were saying, your art is your career. So I was like, okay, let me go with my art. And then everything just felt like it just came crashing down. It was like, oh my God. I thought I built a business out of nowhere and it was going well. So I was like, building an art business should be easy, easier because it's my passion. But reality is that it was, I don't know, 3-5 times more challenging than building a janitorial business. And the main thing is because it was about me. I had to put myself out there in front of people. I couldn't hide behind the scenes anymore. If I want to help women, I have to put myself out there and be there for them. So it has allowed me to feel, not just feel confident, but to really take my power back and say, yes, Claudia, this is what you came to this world to do, because that's what I feel. And you just got to put yourself out there. You have to. There's no choice. So that's the biggest thing that I have overcome. I'm still overcoming that. and it's, yeah, I mean, I love the people that I serve and I want to serve more people. And that means that I have to keep getting out there more and just be confident in what I'm sharing and be authentic. And people talk about being authentic, but being authentic is not just being yourself, but or just, I don't know how to say it. Just being authentic is just more than just saying what you think or say, but being authentic with your inner self. And sometimes in my case, I didn't even know how to be authentic with the true Claudia that lives inside, that wants to come out, that it's, my future self. So it was learning, like, how can I be authentic to that Claudia so I can be authentic to people? So yeah, so it's a lot what I've been overcoming, April.
Oh, but you described it so perfectly, Claudia, and that's why you are both of you are amazing, although you being so transparent and vulnerable, saying, I'm still overcoming this, because we all are. Yeah, and it's the uncertainty, it's the not knowing,
Yeah.
right, what's around the corner, risk, right? Taking risks is growth, and it feels uncomfortable. Although when we have a space that we can find that cohesiveness or balance, such as through creative expression, and then we can allow that to kind of, release a little bit more. And Jenny, I saw you really enthusiastically listening to Claudia there. What really spoke to you as she was sharing that part of herself?
Yeah, well, I mean, going into the deeper layers of what authenticity really means is really valuable. Thanks so much for doing that, Claudia. And and I'm also kind of, as you were speaking, was remembering this whole summer I created a program, for myself most, like that I've been using with clients and everything too. But the play programming that I created, which is called our summer of play, is because last summer when I launched this iteration of my business, I didn't play. I felt like my summer was gone. So and the demons, I would say, that brought up stayed with me through January and a little bit of February too. So I guess, yeah, facing that, who am I, right, at these deeper levels? Who am I being authentic? I actually needed to really dive down in there last winter. And as you kind of are both implying, that's where the growth is. That's what changes everything, is the willingness to go down in there and find who I really am and who I want to be, who I am and who I want to see myself be in the world. So yeah, for me, just play has been a huge factor of that, and just even a little bit of intentionality around it for this summer has been absolutely amazing in the harmony realm for me and for a lot of my clients too. So yeah, thanks so much for bringing those layers up, Claudia.
You're welcome.
Yeah, this is what I love. I have some questions I want to ask, although the unfolding, the organic of the interview is what I pride myself in, because this is how we connect, right?
Mm-hmm.
We are all about human connection. And when we feel siloed, or we feel in the demons come out, as Jenny said, then that makes us shrink. And we don't feel worthy or feel or know our power. And I just want to do some shout outs here. Mike was here, Asher Branner with the Hounds. I also want to shout out to Enrique. He was here too, and I hope he's still here. Are you still here, Enrique? Supporting you, Claudia. And then we have Leadership Sound Bites by Better Possibilities, and of course, HR for You. Thank you all for being here to continue to support. And I think Sabrina Johnson was here on LinkedIn, but for some reason it's not syncing. So I'm kind of sad about that. So if you're watching on LinkedIn, Red Rover, pop on over to YouTube, Living with Intention, April Wyatt. That way you can add your comments in here. So yeah, let's bring it back to the balance. Why is that so important in our lives right now? And how can we find a simple, easy way to just put our toe in, right? Get a little bit comfortable with creative expression for those who aren't willing to, as Claudia was explaining about the one guy who came to the art event and then he painted these flowers that were amazing, right? So for somebody who's listening or watching right now, what can they do? Where can they start? What's a good starting point? Claudia, what do you think?
A good starting point. I mean, there's so many different places to start depending what you might have an interest in. Let's say, I was going to say, I'm going to say paint and sip. I'm not crazy about paint and sips. They're fun, but I don't think there's much of that connection within. And if someone, let's say, is feeling very overwhelmed, they feel like they're holding too much in, maybe you want to just color. That's a nice place to just relax, be in a meditative place, and just allow things to unfold. Maybe listen to, learn how to color. I started, like I said, I went through a very dark period, and I just took out my pencils one day after many, many years. And it all started slowly. And then suddenly I had the desire to take a painting class, and I did it, and it all began to evolve. So it's just taking that one step. Maybe you want to watch a YouTube video. Maybe you've been wanting to learn how to draw. You can you can join me. But in the meantime, you can just go and watch a YouTube video. It's just making that space to do one thing that you used to enjoy. Because I noticed a lot of women said, oh, I used to, enjoy drawing 20 years ago, 30 years ago. And now I'm just feeling that desire again. So if you're feeling the desire, go with it. There's always a lot of people on TikTok. There's a lot of artists that go live. I've been going live during the week also. And they teach watercolors like I do, drawing. So getting to just make that space of not scrolling and just being with someone that actually is doing the work. Like I even enjoy watching other people, especially watercolors. I love watercolors. So that's a good place to start and go from it. I had someone that joined me recently. She did the face drawing class, and she hasn't done art in many, many years. And she realized, you know what, it's not really what I want, but I want to do fashion illustrations. So that's how you start finding what you really want. Maybe you don't want to draw, but you want to do fashion illustration. Maybe you don't want to draw, but you want to try painting. And that goes back to what Jenny was talking about, curiosity, just being curious and being open to explore and allowing ourselves to do that. Because so many of us just won't allow ourselves to take that small step, and it's just one step at a time.
So true, Claudia. Just that little step, and then it brings you somewhere else for sure. Gives you more insight. Jenny.
Yeah, I'm seeing in the comments that Aishwarya, I hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly, says that your expression comes from music and singing and playing musical instruments. That's one of my main ones. And then you love drawing as well, you say in another comment. So I would say that for me, when I'm dipping my toe in, right, when I'm not sure what I want to express or how I want to express it, for me and for the women that I interviewed back in the spring, the ones who were most creatively active spent a lot of time, or maybe not a lot of time in quantity, but intentional quality time with nature in some way, right? That was as detailed as like going for, week-long hikes, to just like stepping out the front door, or looking out the window at some clouds and feeling the sun on your skin. Nature is, or engaging with the natural world, was one of the biggest inroads that people have to creativity, that women have. I guess I didn't interview any men, so I imagine it's much the same. But yeah, so that's one little thing. Even just setting aside 2 minutes every day to do something like that, right? To look at the clouds and see some shapes in the clouds, or to feel some sun on your skin, or to listen to the sound of the wind. And I would say also, knowing yourself, right? Like most of us tend to, by now, I guess, by the time we're adults, have learned a little bit about what our main experiences of the world come through, whether that's our sight or our hearing or our kinesthetic feeling, right? All of us have a little bit of leaning one way or another. So yeah, finding gatherings is what I call them, inspiration from the natural world through whatever senses we most connect with most strongly is another great way to kind of like get in there and stack the deck a little bit for ourselves on making it be powerful and something that's going to allow us to really listen to ourselves after we gather the processes, right? we gather. And then when we are truly inside listening to ourselves from those moments, our soul tells us what we're going to create, how we're going to create it, who might be a resource that can help us do that, who we can reach out to for support and or skill building, etc. And so, yeah, all of that.
All of the things, for sure. And I love the nature part. That's how I connect. And as I'm there's less noise, right, in our minds.
Yeah.
You know, we are connecting to nature. That is part of us. You know, we are earth beings. We're here for a reason, and we forget that we're animals because we have clothes and we drive cars, and so we need nature. That is a beautiful, lovely resource. Thank you, Jenny, for reminding us of that. And as we are in nature, science has shown, right? Our breathing slows.
That's what I wanted to add on that.
Oh, did you? Go ahead, Claudia.
Well, one thing that I always like to add, because a lot of people are becoming more aware, is that anything that brings us joy is how we get out of that survival mode into, some people call it creative mode. And you spoke about it before, April, like self-regulating, the breath work, being out in nature. And I remember one participant once told me she never really cared about being out in nature, but that's because at that point, I don't know nowadays, she was very disconnected from herself. But once you start connecting, you start like taking interest in things that you don't realize. And we live in a world that we're so stressed. We're overwhelmed. There's so much to do. There's so many issues. There's so many crazy things happening. And we need to find that place to ground, because that in itself is health. And that's through creativity, through art, through breath work, meditation, music. That happy place is actually helping our bodies be healthy. And the way I see it is like I owe it to myself. Like if I love myself, I love this vessel that I am in. So I got to give myself some room, because I could go crazy. Building a business is not easy. So sometimes I just totally disconnect, and I was like, no, I got to take care of this vessel, because otherwise what's going to happen? And I think we need to acknowledge that part. And that's why creativity is also so important.
Oh, well said. Well said. And I know Jenny, she's got some golden nuggets to share too. Oh, you're muted.
Yeah, I was coughing a little bit. So yes, thanks. I went on, my mind went on a little bit to think about into like some of the things that the sort of signs, I guess, that we aren't necessarily finding balance in our creative lives. I'd love to share some of those, if that's all right now. And so yeah, I guess if we have kind of if you have a lack of passion, if you're experiencing a lack of passion in your daily life for life, or any amount of significant self-doubt, or a lot of perfectionism, this is some of the energies that we have going on when we're not necessarily getting creative. Sometimes I also think of, when going into the idea of play as well, there's this phrase from Stuart Brown, who has done a lot of research on play, called play stagnation, right? When we aren't really playing, or sometimes when we're playing and it's just kind of transactional, right? Like it's just because other people are doing it or something like that. And then when we're not able to express ourselves authentically, as we were kind of talking about before, that's another sort of sign. Just basically things feeling out of balance in any area of our life, like time or money or relationships. Creativity is then, I don't want
Your
that
phone agrees.
Yeah. Speaking of time. Yeah. So yeah, whenever anything like that is out of balance in our lives, creativity is the antidote. Like anybody who I've been listening, right? I've been listening to the people who are expressing happiness and expressing themselves fully. And it inevitably, whether they're naming it as that or not, there is a significant amount of creativity going on that they are engaging in with their lives. And anything, everything and anything has the potential to be engaged with creatively in our lives. So yeah, I see it as the absolute antidote to all those diagnoses of, when we're just play stagnation or disconnected from our creative dreams or anything, when we can't express ourselves. Yeah. So,
yeah, I agree 100%. And also, as you were sharing that, Jenny, it reminds me of how are we even physically moving in the world? Because if we are so siloed or have the blinders on and we're so focused on work or, the next task, we're going to be more rigid or even slumped over, like, oh, this is so much, right? I have all this pressure. When people talk about that, I feel this pressure in my lower back or in my shoulders, in the back of my head. It shows up in the body because the body's responding to our thoughts. And when we're not creatively expressing and moving, we breathe easier, things flow easier through the body. We're going to be walking different. We're going to be holding ourselves. Our physicality is going to be entirely different. And I'm sure you've witnessed that in your workshops, in-person workshops, Jenny and Claudia, when people walk out of these art, creative expression, right? Art, and they're like, wow, right? I'm pretty proud of this. This is kind of exciting, and I'm sure there's a light in their face, and they leave feeling much better, don't they?
Yes.
Yes, that's what it's all about. We all want to feel better. I don't think I've ever worked with a client that came to me and said, April, I want to feel worse than I am right now. That's not true, right? We all want to feel better. We all want to ease the pressures in our minds and in our bodies. And creative expression is a way to do that. Yes. Thank you, ladies, for being here. And so I'm just going to bring you all up, and I want you to share how can people connect with you if they're interested in online or in-person events? How can they connect?
Okay, I'll start. Well, they can. I've been my website. Everything in my social media is under my last name. So that's Marolanda Art. They can find me on TikTok and Instagram. Being sort of active also on LinkedIn, not too much, but they can find me. You can always send me a message, and I can let you know the classes that I have happening online. That's one of the things. I have a website, but I'm in the process of building a website just for workshops. So I'm excited about that too. But yes, that's where you can find me.
Wonderful, Claudia. And Jenny.
Yeah. So I'm on all the socials as Jenny Eleonora, as you can see there. And also I have a couple of free, tools that people can use and at play.growyourwholevoice.com. I can't put that in the chat, in the comments, because apparently I can't use the comments. I'm not sure why. But anyway, it's play.growyourwholevoice.com. And that would get you on my list, which would then tell you about my August 20th workshop that's coming up. It's going to be a whole new thing for me that I'm offering. I've never offered a workshop like this where I kind of lay out my whole system. It's called the Creativity Code, and it's how we're going to unlock that together. And it's going to be absolutely transformative. In April, I'm really glad that you mentioned how we look in our bodies when we're not feeling it, right? Like I guarantee that because we're literally going to do some vibrational work with our bodies as well during this workshop to help us unlock our own personal creativity code within our own creative channels. And so, that we're going to leave totally open and lifted from that. I'm very excited about it. It's August 20th. So get on my list at play.growyourwholevoice.com, which is also going to give you a sort of my summer toolkit, so which you can so then you can get tips and tricks and all that for inviting play into your daily life that way too. Yeah.
Yes, in the daily life, doing that. And Claudia, are you still hosting your Cup of Color? Do you still have that going on?
That's going to happen, yes, at the end of August, August 26th. I stopped it this month because of the drawing course that I was doing. But yes, I'm getting back to it on August 26th.
Beautiful.
That's on my schedule.
Yes. And, this is all for us to be here together to remember that, we need creativity. We need this expression. We need to have this energy, this vitality that's already within us. Tap into it. Right? We all have this within us. And I'm just very excited to have you all here and everyone that has been chiming in. And you said her name so perfectly, Jenny. Say your name again, because I know I'm going to butcher it.
Me? Jenny Eleonora.
No, the gal here,
Aishwarya.
Yes.
Yeah, I wanted to say thank you to her. She's been so sweet.
Yes, she has. She's been chiming in. So please connect with these beautiful ladies and myself. And this is what we're here to do, right? We're here to amplify and support you in finding that balance, whether it's through artwork, whether it is through self-expression, whether it's through breath work. This is what we're here for. And it's really to help you discover more about you in the process. So, ladies, thank you so much. And I also want to share something with you all, and it has to do with, as we are having these creative expressions, I have a Bali retreat that's coming up, and it is in 2026. Although the reason why I'm amplifying this now is because of the payment plan starting, well, it's at the end of this month, so it's today. You can go to Bali for less than $200 a month. And I'm like, hey, I'm raising my hand to that. If somebody said you could go to Bali for less than $200 a month, I would jump on that, but that's just me. So this Bali retreat is something that is also near and dear to my heart. I'm very intentional of what I do and what I'm expressing. And so it involves meditation. It involves, of course, breath work. We do some energy work, as Jenny was talking about, right? This is really getting into the body. And also we have some amazing excursions that we take you all on, such as a waterfall experience. And then you can see me up here. This is a water purification ceremony that we take you to, and it is located on the northern shore of Bali, and it's over 3000 BCE. Balinese people pilgrimage to this amazing location for this water purification from this beautiful natural spring that empties into the ocean. And then we go to the temple afterwards. It's absolutely stunning. And I'm all about culture. I want to learn about the people. I want to try all the things. So we just don't stay on the retreat center, which is absolutely stunning, by the way. This sunset is from the center. We're right there on the beach. But I want to learn. I want to explore. I want to take you with me on this amazing retreat. So there's a QR code up here on the right-hand corner. Take a scan of that or go to my website, livingwithintention.co, find out more about that. So that way you can breathe a little easier, right? Release those tensions and learn more about yourself in the process, because that's what we're all here to do. We're all here to be part of the collective to have these experiences and just appreciate who we are as human beings on this earth. So thank you for tuning in. I so appreciate you. Reach out to these beautiful lights. They're here to help support you in any way they can. And I will see you next week.